Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Chandan here.
Chandan Prabhu, Danvat Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Pravina
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, Danvat Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Srinivas Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji here.
Yuganta Prabhu, Danvat Pranam, Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Okay, we'll begin now. Today's discussion is one of the most important discussion of Bhagavad Gita. Um, it is today we'll discuss the sum and substance of entire Bhagavad Gita. If we can understand today's discussion, um, we are supposed to understand the entire Gita, because in fact the main summary of Gita is discussed today. Uh, we'll begin with Vaishnav pranams. Om Agyantimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vande Ham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्तसरस्वतीति नामिने श्रीवर्षभानुवी देवी दायिताय कृपाब्धये कृष्णसम्बन्धविज्ञानदायिने प्रभवे नमः। नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षाद्वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्भप्रसाम्भोधे पादम्बुजाय ते नमः। नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगावराय ते गौरविर्भावभूमिष्त्वं निर्दिष्टसज्जना प्रिया वैष्णवा सार्वभौम श्रीजगन्नाथाय ते नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्ताख्यं भक्तावतारं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। Okay, today is the last discussion of Gita. and we have not yet decided what we want to do next week, but the Gita will end today. Okay, the acronym for this chapter was SMILE. SMILE. S for summary of Karma Yoga. M for three modes of nature. I for ideal worker, and now love of Godhead, and the end, the last part, E for ending part of Bhagavad Gita. In all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. So this is one of the most important instruction that a spiritual master give to any disciple, is depend upon Krishna. And this instruction comes in this 18th chapter, where Krishna says, whatever be the situation, in all activities depend upon Krishna. um, um, and Krishna will give you protection. There are many instances. um, we will see about surrender. We'll discuss little bit about surrender today. But one of the limbs of surrender is Rakshishyati Vishwaso. Vishwas means the protection, um, faith that Krishna will protect me. If I depend upon Krishna, then Krishna will guaranteed help me. Um, Many of you must have experienced yourself. You invest surrender onto Krishna, and Krishna reciprocates, and that grows your faith. And if you start doing it over and over and over, then you come to this strong conviction that no matter what happens, let me depend upon Krishna, and Krishna will take care of everything. So that's what Krishna says. Many examples. Physical attacks. Prahlad Maharaj, he was thrown into fire among snakes, thrown from the cliff, um, was attempted to be trampled under an elephant, um, went through many went through many attempts of physical attacks, depended upon Krishna, and he was given protection in all circumstances. Then there is Maya attacks. Haridas Thakur, um, mm, who was Brahma himself, when he was bewildered in Brahma Vimohan Leela, where he could not understand Krishna, and he stole the cows and calves, um, from Krishna to teach Krishna a lesson. And then Krishna manifested himself and expanded himself into all the cows and calves and the cowherd boys. And when Brahma came and he saw all of them still there, he was bewildered. Then later on, he realized that actually Krishna has expanded himself. So Krishna is not an ordinary boy, he is Supreme Personality of Godhead. When he took that humble position, then Golok Vrindavan was revealed to him. And Brahma felt very bad that he could not recognize his own Lord, and he made a mistake. So he wanted to rectify. So he prayed to Krishna to allow me to take birth, um, in a low to allow me to take a lower birth, um, to repent for my, um, offense against you, and allow me to serve you. Then Brahmaji was given a chance to came as Haridas Thakur, and he assisted in pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Um, he was tested by Maya Devi herself. The most attractive form of Maya Devi, in the form of a woman, came and enticed Haridas, and Haridas Thakur depended upon Krishna, and he could overcome Maya's attack. Um, Emotional attacks. Draupadi was in a highly emotional crisis when she was being insulted among thousands of men. and she cried out to Krishna and she received protection. Whether it is physical, emotional, spiritual, any kind of problem one faces, whether it is professional problems, family problems, kids problem, neighbor problem, um, whatever problem one faces, the ultimate instruction that Krishna gives and the spiritual master gives is depend upon Krishna. Means, my Lord, please help me in this situation. This is one very essential way to become Krishna conscious is by presenting before Krishna every situation we go through. Whether it is, my Lord, I'm not able to absorb in my chanting, please help me. My Lord, I'm not able to focus, I'm not able to chant, I'm not able to read. Whether it is spiritual difficulties, whatever be the difficulty, you turn to Krishna and see what happens. So Krishna says in all activities, he does not define which activities, he covers all activities. Sarva, in all activities, depend upon Krishna. Um, and then what happens if one depends upon Krishna in all activities? Now, someone may say, I am being physically attacked and I called out to Krishna and nothing happened to me. I was beaten up. Now, um, when we depend upon Krishna, have that faith, have that faith that Krishna protection is there and whatever is happening is Krishna's will. Krishna knows what is best for us in what situation and Krishna arranges in that way. So with that faith, you depend upon Krishna with surrender. Surrender means whatever Krishna thinks best for me, Krishna will do that for me. And Krishna will reveal to you how what he did with you was the best. Because the purpose is many times we have a conception how I want Krishna to help me. But that may not be the best help which is best for me for my progress. The goal of human life is um, advance spiritually, purify our existence, purify the soul from anarthas, reawaken one's loving relationship with the Lord, reawaken that relationship, that dormant love that we have for the Lord, reawaken that we have that we have lost it because of um, material association, reawaken that love. So however Krishna feels in a particular situation, best thing for us to reawaken that relationship and to purify our heart, Krishna will reciprocate in that situation. So there requires surrender. Surrender means whatever Krishna do I will accept with faith. With faith you take shelter of Krishna and surrender to how Krishna deals with you in your life. See what happens. Then Krishna says, um, life there will be many obstacles, many difficult situations. Always depend upon me, and in this way become conscious of me. See, the goal is to become conscious of Krishna. If you see the last line of this verse, in such devotional service be fully conscious of me. Depending upon Krishna is a devotional service. Out of love we take shelter of Krishna, and in such devotional service be fully conscious of me. If we are depending on Krishna, then we are with Krishna. Like, my Lord, please help me. So now I'm connected to Krishna, now I'm conscious of Krishna, now I'm seeing the hand of Krishna in every situation. And if you become conscious of Krishna in every situation, if you become conscious of me, conscious means you just are um, um, you are aware that you are with him. Unconscious means there is no Krishna, I am just self absorbed in material activities. Conscious means, now my Lord, please help me. So I am there with Krishna in my thought process. So if you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. So, something for me? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. Um, Whatever obstacles we face, whether it is Prahlad Maharaj, whether it is Draupadi, whether it is Haridas Thakur, they all face their own obstacles. We face our own obstacles. Um, um, Anything that causes us distress is an obstacle. Whatever obstacle we face, um, um, whether it is our education, whether it is um, job, whether any obstacle, Krishna says you'll be able to cross over all the obstacles if you become conscious of me. How do you become conscious of him? Krishna says you depend upon me. So you depend on him, my Lord. I don't know where else to go. I am distressed. Um, mm, I feel something is not right. I need your help. And then Krishna is very wonderful. And then Krishna will surely help, and you will cross over all the obstacles that come your way. You will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. So there are only two options. One option is we depend upon Krishna in all obstacles, or we listen to our ego. Ego means, why do I need Krishna? I am okay without Krishna. I can live without Krishna. So Krishna says, um, if you depend upon me, you will cross over all obstacles and you will receive my grace. You will receive my mercy. But if you act out of false ego, then you will be lost. Then you will be lost. Um, Krishna is sitting in our heart as Paramatma. Krishna is guiding us every moment how to advance and how to come closer to him. Krishna is guiding us. We have two choices. Now we have two choices. Either we act in a way, the way Krishna is guiding us within our heart. Krishna is our best friend, sitting in our heart. Krishna says this in Bhagavad Gita 6th chapter at the end. Suhuridam sarva bhutanam. Um, Gyatva mam shantim rachati. The person who knows that actually Krishna is my best friend, he is sitting in my heart. But what happens along with the voice of the super soul, voice of Paramatma, there is also the voice of ego, false ego. False ego want to protect our um, egoistic mentality, our name and fame and prestige, our what people think of me. um, if I do this, then what may happen, our own reservations, inhibitions. So they, everything that arise from, so one activity, one instruction Paramatma helps us is what will help us to progress. But then there comes fear, insecurities, and many emotions that arise out of false ego. So now we have a choice. Should I listen to Krishna, what Krishna is telling, or should I listen to ego? And Krishna says, if you listen to me, whatever obstacles are there that are causing any inhibitions, um, fears, whatever, you will cross over. You will cross over all the obstacles. But if you act out of false ego, um, not listening to my instruction, then you will be lost. What does lost means? Lost basically means we won't receive Krishna's mercy, or our existence in this material world continues. So that is what lost means. Like there is a nice story here. There was one disciple of Srila Prabhupada. He served Srila Prabhupada. His name, actually, when Srila Prabhupada came to West, he used to use dictaphone. Through dictaphone, he would translate Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and other books into English. He would not type it, but he would speak through dictaphone. Sanskrit to English translation and purports. Um, so, and also when Prabhupada was in India, he would either use dictaphone and translate, or he would write on a paper. So there was one English professor. He became interested in Krishna consciousness. Um, um, I don't remember his signature name, but professor in one of the university, I think in Ohio University, he was a professor. So he became interested in Srila Prabhupada. He met Srila Prabhupada and he said, I am on a sabbatical leave for 4 months. Swamiji, can I help you? I want to help you. I see you are a genuine spiritual teacher. And Srila Prabhupada said, yes, you can help me with typing. And he said, yeah, I am an English professor. I am very good with typing. So Prabhupada gave him a lot of manuscripts and dictaphone, and he said, can you type, and then those will be printed into books. So he did lot of service to Prabhupada. And then at some point of time, Srila Prabhupada left the planet. And because of something that happened, he lost faith in Krishna. And he was serving in a temple, very enthusiastic, but somehow he lost faith and he left the temple. And 15 years passed by, and he was still very young. He he had a family, he had kids, but the call of karma, um, because he left the shelter of his spiritual master, he was engaging in all kind of sinful activities back again. He was contracted with the last stage of cancer, and he was in excruciating pain. And then he remembered that the life is so temporary. I got a chance to connect to my spiritual master and make proper use of the human form of life, but I neglected the opportunity. So he was repenting, but what had happened is, um, before he left the temple, he picked up quarrels with all the devotees. All the devotees picked up quarrels. So he had no guts to go back to the temple. No guts to go back. Um, so that time the Lord was telling him within his heart, go back to temple. Devotees will take care of you. Go back to temple. And he was very um, um, not willing to do that. That night, Srila Prabhupada came in his vision when he slept, and Prabhupada said, go back. And he told Prabhupada, I cannot go back. I have picked up quarrels. Nobody likes me there. And Prabhupada said, they are devotees, and devotees are very merciful. Devotees are very eager to have you back, no matter how you behave with them. Go back. And he said, no, Prabhupada, I don't think I can go. Please give me some other alternative. And Prabhupada became strong, and Prabhupada showed him his stick and he said, I am ordering you, go back, finish. And Prabhupada disappeared. So he understood this is what Prabhupada want me to do. Um, and then next day morning he went to temple. This is in New Vrindavan in West Virginia, those who have been there. So his samadhi is still there in New Vrindavan. If you go, there is a samadhi of Haigriva Prabhu, um, near the peacock shelter. His samadhi is there. So he went back, but he has no guts to open the door because he had lot of other impressions and the quarrels and lot of things that happened before he left the temple. And he his his inhibitions were telling him, no, you cannot do this, you cannot go. um, but something, Prabhupada was pushing him in his heart, enter, go inside. And he entered, and devotees loved to see him. They greeted him, they welcomed him, they all did nice kirtan together. They all took prasadam together, and then he felt very relieved and he felt at home. And very soon, within a week or two, he left his body. in the temple where while Kirtan was going on. So the idea is false ego presents to us many different options, and Krishna inspires us in a way that will help us grow in our Krishna consciousness. So Krishna says, if you depend upon me and act in a way that you come closer to me, I will remove all the obstacles. I will take care of everything. You just depend upon me. Um, but Krishna at the same time warns that if you act out of other inspirations and motivations coming through false ego, then I won't be able to help you. Then false ego will degrade you. So this is one of the most important instruction Krishna gives. And continuing, under illusion you are not declining to act according to my direction, but compelled by the work born of your nature, you will act all the same, O son of Kunti. So Krishna is telling that we have like, okay, with respect to Arjuna, Arjuna is a Kshatriya. As a Kshatriya, his nature is to fight. Arjuna was acting out of false ego. Now, Arjuna is a pure devotee of Krishna. Arjuna is not an egoistic person. He has no desire to enjoy. We saw in the first chapter itself, Arjuna said, let me go to the forest and beg rather than fighting for kingdom. Um, I cannot kill my own family members. So Arjuna was not um, eager for any material benefits, but he was very compassionate. Yet at the same time, Krishna covered him. Uh, so he was unwilling to fight because of his inhibitions. And his inhibition and his false ego was, how can I kill my family members? Attachment. That also arise from false ego. So Krishna wanted him to fight, but out of false ego he was declining to fight, and he gave many reasons for not fighting. What will happen to first chapter, what will happen to, if I fight, family traditions will be lost. If I fight, the females will become widows. If I fight, I will incur sinful reactions. So he gave many good reasons. What about compassion for all living entities? So good reasons. But all these reasons were enacted out of false ego, because his main, I mean, I always say this, where were these reasons when Krishna fought so many battles earlier? Not that women were not become widowed when he fought earlier. This is not the first battle he's fighting. Not that no sinful reaction when he killed so many hundreds of thousands of people earlier in so many battles. Where were family traditions? Where were sinful reactions? Where was compassion then? So why all these reasons are coming only now in Mahabharat war and not in other wars? He's a Kshatriya. He is forever fighting. Since his childhood, he is fighting. So actually, Arjuna did not understand, but all these reasons that he gave, apparently they sound very convincing reason, but this is all Arjuna's false ego. Now, Arjuna does not have a false ego, but Krishna, in order to manifest um, um, his um, in order to for Bhagavad Gita to manifest, Krishna by his own yoga maya potency covered Arjuna so that Bhagavad Gita could be spoken. Um, mm, so this is false ego. So instead, Krishna is telling, well, you do your duty and then you depend upon me. In this, for Arjuna's case, and Krishna is hinting him, if you act out of false ego, which he was, all his reasons were, Krishna says you will be lost. You will be lost. And here Krishna says, under illusion, you are now, see, the nature of ego is, it's very subtle. It's that's why subtler than earth is water, subtler than water is air, subtler than air is um, um, subtler than water is fire, Subtler than fire is air, subtler than air is ether, subtler than ether is mind, subtler than mind is intelligence, subtler than intelligence is ego. So the nature of ego is very hidden. Um, um, my spiritual master says sometimes people say that I have no false ego, and my spiritual master says that itself is a sign of false ego, that this thought is coming that I have no false ego. So false ego is very hidden, and false ego presents so many things to us which are not conducive to Krishna consciousness, and we are convinced about it, and we don't realize this is all coming out of false ego. Arjuna was very much convinced when he gave these reasons that I did a great job. I'm a very nice man. Um, I am so caring. I am unlike Duryodhan and others who are willing to fight. I am following dharma. Um, and he was feeling very good about the reasons he gave. Krishna called him a fool. And Krishna said, how have these impurities come upon you? So the nature of ego is it's very hidden and we don't realize. That's why scriptures comes to our rescue. Scriptures and saintly personalities come to our rescue, because the enemy is so hidden we cannot understand it. Um, but scriptures gives us direction, on what to do, what not to do. That's why it's called Shastra Chakshu, means you see what scripture says and you do what scripture says. And don't worry what you think, if it is right thing or wrong thing to do. You just do what scripture says. Then we are acting out of Krishna's instruction. So Krishna told, under illusion, you are now declining to fight, to act according to, you are now declining to act according to my direction. Basically, you don't want to fight. This is because of illusion. All your reasons because of illusion. Um, but compelled by the work born out of your own nature, you will act all the same. And Krishna says, today you will think, I will go and beg, and you will not fight. But because you are a Kshatriya, your nature is to fight. Tomorrow, somewhere else, you will again start fighting. So don't think that now it's only because of false ego you are thinking you don't want to fight and you want to become a beggar and take the role of a Brahmana. Tomorrow you will work in the same way according to your nature. So, um, essence, um, something connected to the previous verse discussion, which is ideal worker. Um, um, mm, Whatever obstacles are there, depend on Krishna. Whatever obstacles are there, um, um, whether it is now what I have seen, um, nobody wants problems in life. Nobody wants problems in life. People are always running away from problems. Um, any problem in job, they try to switch the job. um, any problem in visa, they try to change. I have so many stories where people are running for from life, fearing of problems. They are trying to escape the problems, um, um, thinking that changing their physical situation will have them get rid of the problems. But the fact is, um, whatever situation is arranged in our life, it is already destined for us according to our karma. I have seen people changing jobs because of some problems. When they go to the new job, problem comes to them in a different way. Comes to them in a different way. Um, I know one person. He said, "I may be at risk of visa if I stay in this company. Rather, let me go to another company so I don't have to go to India." He went to another company. He served there for 6 months, and then something happened, and he had to go to India. He had to go to India. So I always tell people, um, well, um, running away and escaping from the problem is not going to solve the problem for you. Rather, you ask Krishna for strength to deal with the problem. That will help you. Whatever situation, now Krishna knows what is best for us. We may not be able to see it, and we are hardly able to see it. But every situation should be seen by a devotee. Every situation should be seen. This is the best situation for me to be in to progress in my Krishna consciousness. I remember I I was working in Grand Rapids, and then I joined a temple. And when I joined the temple, I faced lot of problems. I literally went through lot of problems, and my mind started giving me so many reasons that maybe I should change the temple only. I should go to different temple so it will be easier life in temple. Or what did I do? Did I do the right thing? What is life all about? I was thinking after taking up spiritual life, all my anxieties will go and I'll be very satisfied and peaceful. But here, living a day itself is becoming so difficult. Then I somehow tolerated the different situations, and I went and I met a sannyasi. He was practicing Krishna consciousness for 45 years, Prabhupada disciple, pure devotee of Krishna. Just by looking at me, he said, I just paid in obeisances and I did not say anything. He said, whatever problems you are going through, Krishna has arranged those problems for you so that your heart can become purified. Your heart can become purified. So there is a saying, Krishna puts us into situation um, to help us grow. We end up in changing the situation. We try to change the situation. But a devotee is tolerant. Whatever he goes through in life, he takes shelter of Krishna. He takes shelter of Krishna. Um, and One person, he had some problem in the office from his office manager or somebody else was giving him very hard time. So he started applying for new jobs. um, and I told him, probably this is Krishna's arrangement for you. And he just was not able to listen to me. He was just not desiring because his suffering was too intense. But actually, when we get problems, we should depend on Krishna, but we don't know. Maybe Krishna wants us not to become egoistic. Krishna is training us to learn to take a humble position. Krishna is training us to become more tolerant. So these are all the qualities of a Vaishnav. And wherever we lack, which we don't realize, but whatever qualities we lack, Krishna will give us opportunity to improve and work on them. So the idea is, basic summary of these 2 3 verses. Whatever situation Krishna puts you in, see the hand of the Lord, and depend upon Krishna. Whatever be the situation, my Lord, please help me overcome this situation. And Krishna says, you will be able to overcome if you take shelter of me, if you depend upon me. So, how do we? And Krishna says, because there is problem, don't try to give up your duty. And he is telling to Arjuna, your duty is to fight because there is some problem, that the other person is your family members and you have your own reasons. Don't give up your duty. um, um, do your duty and depend upon Krishna. How do we receive Krishna's direction? um, this is one of the very important verses in Bhagavad Gita. um, the Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who was seated as on a machine made of the material energy. Um, O Shine of Bharata, surrender unto him utterly. By his grace, you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal abode. Now, let me spend few minutes and explain. The Lord is situated in everyone's heart. So, Krishna is giving us guidance, and that guidance, most important guidance that Krishna is giving us from within our heart is how to progress in our spiritual life. So, the Lord is situated in everyone's heart. The more we advance, the more we can see the Lord is speaking to me from my heart. The reason we are all here today is because the Lord inspired us to be here today. Um, so the Lord is guiding us. He's situated in our heart, and the living entity may think that he is making his decision, but actually, either he's either he is um, well, the Lord is guiding him in simple words. But Prabhupada also says that we do have a free will to reject the Lord's um, inspiration. Inspiration comes from Paramatma. Inspiration. Um, we had a choice to discuss Bhagavad Gita now, or we had a choice. I'm not interested. I don't feel like going. I have my own inhibitions. We have a choice. So there is again multiple voices that arise in our heart, either coming from the Lord or coming from my intelligence ego. So Krishna says, I am seated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are situated on a machine. So the soul and the super soul are situated in the body. The body is compared to a machine. The Sanskrit says yantra rurani mayaya. Yantra is machine. This body is a machine. Um, and what is this machine made up of? It is not made up of iron. It is not made up of steel or plastic. It's made up of material energy. Yantra rurani mayaya. Brahmayan sarva bhutani. Bhutani is all living entities. Sarva bhutani. All living entities Brahmayan are going from higher planets to lower planets to middle planets to animal life to demigod life to human life to cat's life, dog's life, bird's life, fish life, aquatics, whatever. So this is called Brahman. Basically, we are going in different um, um, Brahman. We are just rotating around. Brahmayan Sarva Bhutani Yantra Rurani Mayaya. And at one point of time, the soul, along with the super soul, is situated in a machine made up of Maya. This body is made up of Maya. Maya means matter. Body is made up of matter. Um, O Shine of Bharata, surrender unto him eternally. Surrender unto him. Him means the super soul who is situated in our heart. What is the definition of a pure devotee? Now, a pure devotee is one who, when he hears what Lord wants me to do, he surrenders to the will of the Lord. He listens to the Lord in the heart and he does it. That person is very advanced, who can listen to the voice of the Lord and without thinking anything, the person surrenders to the voice of the Lord in the heart and does that. And you all are doing that, so that itself is a sign of all of your greatness, to be able to hear the Lord's voice in your heart and follow. Um, so surrender unto him eternally by his grace. His means the super soul. By his grace, you will attain transcendental peace, um, and the supreme and eternal abode. Actually, Prabhupada says the Lord in the heart is more eager to have us attain the transcendental peace, and the supreme and eternal abode, to go back to Godhead, to purify our existence, to develop our relationship, to be happy. The Lord is very eager. He's sitting in our heart and He is giving us direction how to attain that state, the path to follow. He is giving us direction. So it says is directing the wandering. The living entity in search of happiness is wandering in different species of life, and the Lord in the heart is always with him, and the Lord is directing the living entity to go closer to the Lord, to advance. And if we surrender unto him, then we will attain that transcendental peace and that relationship with the Lord and the purity of heart we are aspiring. So, this is more confidential knowledge. Now, this section speaks about confidential knowledge, more confidential knowledge, and most confidential knowledge. Confidential knowledge we discussed last week, which was um, um, ब्रह्मभूता प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समहं सर्वभूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते परम, is you try to attain Brahman realization. What is Brahman realization? Na sochati na kankshati. You have no lamentations over the past, and you have no hankerings. Usually, a living entity is bound by these two things. Whatever he has done in the past, he laments. Why did I do that? That's lamentation. And whatever the living entity doesn't have, the living entity hankers for it. So, no lamentation and no hankering. That is a Brahma Bhuta stage. Means no material anxiety. Samaham Sarva Bhuteshu. He sees all living entity as spiritual, as spiritual. They're not those bodies, they are the spirit soul hankering for purity and peace and eternal relationship with the Lord. So that is a Brahma Bhuta stage. Attain that stage. How do I attain that stage? Well, whatever work you are doing, try to do it for the pleasure of the Lord. Try to do it for pleasure of Krishna. And then understand that the results are not in our hand. So Krishna spoke about summary of Karma Yoga, and how the three modes act. So follow those instructions and eventually reach the stage of Brahma Bhuta where there is no hankering and no lamentation, and you are peacefully working in this material world, and you slowly come to a liberated stage where nothing in this world affect you anymore. But then don't stop there. That is just a confidential knowledge. Now more confidential knowledge is, now you listen after it says, samaham sarva bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. When a person comes to that um, close to liberated stage where he is not burning in material anxiety, hankering, and lamentation, then he can start rendering devotional service to Krishna, pure devotional service to Krishna. Mad bhaktim labhate param. Then he comes to a stage of bhakti and devotional service. Now,
One question:
yes, Prabhuji.
how desire and inspiration are related? Like, which is coming first? Paramatma's inspiration and soul's desire. Which is first?
Well, Prabhuji, like Ramapad Maharaj says, desires can arise by Lord's inspiration, but it can also arise by um, mind, intellect, and ego. Like desire to listen to a movie song, it's arising from mind. Desire for a, a big position is arising from ego. Or um, um, whatever material desires arising from either mind, intelligence, ego. So desire can arise at any level, at the level of soul, which is Paramatma, or at the level of subtle body, mind, intelligence, ego. The devotee, when he gets many desires, he should be introspective and should see what Paramatma is telling. What desire I should reject. Now, that desire may arise in the mind, but then a devotee is careful which desire to pursue and which desire to reject. To reject. Um, that desire that is arising out of inspiration from Paramatma, um, that is usually um, um, always based on scriptures. Um, so that's how the inspiration. Now, many times um, we may have many desires, but then, or some of them may contradict, and then we see, okay, what will please Krishna in that situation? And then we seek, okay, what is Paramatma's saying in that? So, Mahipal Prabhu, does that help to correlate the two?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay, okay, thank you. Yeah. Um, um, Always it's better if we take a pause and see, this is my desire. Is this is something Krishna wants me to do? Um, or one very good option is check with um, more devotees, more and more devotees, and see if devotees feel the same for me. And if multiple people say the same thing, then you should know for sure that this is what Krishna wants me to do. That's an easy way um, is to consult, because many times we are biased. So checking with devotees always helps. Um, okay. So there is Brahman realization where there is no hankering and no lamentation over the wrong we have done in the past, or desire for future. And the soul is peaceful and sees every living entity on a spiritual level. That is Brahman state, uh, where you are almost a liberated platform, and then your relationship with the Lord on a Brahman stage becomes very active actually. The more we advance, the more our relationship with the super soul enhances. And then you listen to the Lord in the heart. And the Lord is, here it says, directing the wanderings of the living entity. What a living entity wandering for? The living entity is actually wandering for true happiness, true peace, true satisfaction. um, and the Lord knows this is available only in relationship to me. So whatever the living entity is actually wandering for, the Lord directs them. Well, you do this, you do this, you do this. And then Krishna says you surrender unto him. You surrender unto the Lord in your heart. And what what will happen? The Lord is, you have a desire for that true connection and peace and love. The Lord is guiding you from within. You do this, and then what we have to do is we have to surrender to the Lord in our heart. Now, don't think Krishna will come in front of us and say, do this. Krishna will speak, Prabhupada says, externally through spiritual master and internally as through Paramatma. Um, um, Both are equally important, because um, if we are on a liberated platform, then we get inspiration directly from Guru and Krishna from within our heart. Like these spiritual masters, they may not have their own spiritual master living, but because Guru is living within the heart, they get all their directions. Yesterday, I was reading a book. One spiritual master was mentioning that whenever I need direction, Prabhupada comes to my dream, and he gives me what to do. So this is transcendental relationship between guru and disciple. um, but many times we are not able to really understand, and externally Guru helps. So Guru or Paramatma, surrender to that voice within you, and by following that you will attain the supreme and eternal abode. Okay. इति ते ज्ञानम् आख्यातं घूयाद् घूयात्तरं मया विमृश्यैतद् अशेषेण यथा चेषि तथा कुरु. Now, in the image, in the picture, the bottom, that is a translation. Thus, I have explained to you knowledge still more confidential. Deliberate on this fully and then do what you wish to do. Actually, Arjuna in his heart, Paramatma is telling him that you should fight. This is your duty. They are on the wrong side. It's about dharma. It's not just about you. If they remain the king, it will be harmful for millions of living entities whom they will rule. So Paramatma is telling them, telling Arjuna from within his heart, and the Lord externally acting as a spiritual master. He told him, surrender unto him. The Lord who is telling in your heart. This is still more confidential knowledge. Thus, I have explained to you knowledge still more confidential. Deliberate on this. Think about it. Think about it. Does it make sense? Think about it. And then do what you wish to do. So, this is called Yatha Cheshi Tatha Kuru. Do what you like to do. Do what you like to do. Do what you like to do. This is very important. Last line indicates that Krishna does not interfere with our little independence. Does not interfere. Do what you like to do. Bhagavad Gita. Now we have come to the end of Gita. This is the last instruction of Krishna. He has spoken the entire Bhagavad Gita. He has told what is right, what is wrong, what to do, what not to do. And then he does not force Arjuna. He let Arjuna decide. He is guiding Arjuna from within his heart. But he, um, we have free will. We can listen to the Lord in our heart, that will help us progress, or we can reject Him. If we reject Him, we will be lost. We'll go away. Our wandering, our desires will be unfulfilled. Actually, we are actually looking for a deep relationship with the Lord, a deep satisfaction, a inner fulfillment. We are looking for that.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danat Pranam, Devo Shishya. Prabhuji, I have a question here.
Yeah,
So,
Devashish Prabhu, say little louder, Prabhu, please.
yes, Prabhu. So, my question is that if Krishna is inspiring us and he is giving us, like in this case, Krishna is inspiring Krishna is inspiring Arjuna by the whole Bhagavad Gita discourse, and he is leaving up to him to take the decision whether he wants to act in Krishna's uh, instruction or not. So, in in this material body, uh, so is it the ego that is taking the decision of going towards what Krishna is saying or not? Is it the ego or is it the intelligence, or it is like uh, like a coordination between all of these entities?
Yeah, thank you. Actually, Prabhuji, any decision made not in favor of Guru and Krishna, whether it is made through our intellect, whether it is made because of attachment of mind, it is impelled by false ego. Actually, mind and intellect, they are servants of ego. Ego is like the boss, the person who is guiding the mind and intellect. So eventually Krishna does not uses the word, um, If you listen to your mind, if you listen to your intellect, he simply says if you act on ego, you will be lost. That includes all possibilities, rejecting Krishna's guidance from within. Prabhu, does that help? Devashish Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. So ego is the is like you said, is on the top. But then when it comes as an instruction from Guru or Krishna, it is our will to whether to listen to your ego or to listen to Krishna.
Yes. So our free will to reject Guru and Krishna's instruction is ego. Is that your question?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Prabhuji, I also have one question.
Yeah, Srinivas Prabhu.
Srinivas Prabhu.
Yes.
Yeah. So when there is a problem, how do we know that this is arranged by Krishna? We should accept it, or we can also say that Krishna has given you enough resources to fight back. So how do I know whether to accept that that Krishna has arranged this problem to make me strong, or how do I mean? I also know the alternative to get rid of that. So we can also say that Krishna gave me these options and enough resources to get rid of that situation. So which way to take? Once this is done, I have another question, Prabhuji.
Yeah, it's a very esoteric question because a very hidden question. um, well, when you can talk to me personally and share more detail if you have difficulty in making a decision. Um, General principle, if you are not sure, what I do if I'm not sure what the right decision is, don't make a decision. And while you are chanting, you pray to Krishna, my Lord, help me. And slowly in it takes sometime few days, sometime it's instantaneous. We become clear. Basically, the Krishna's instruction is, in that situation you are in, you depend on Krishna and you wait. um, um, mm, Let your prayer be, my Lord, whatever decision I make, please help me to make a right decision. And you keep praying that instantly, you keep praying like that constantly, and then observe the signs, and somehow Krishna will guide you. That's my faith.
Oh, okay, Prabhuji. And one more
That's
thing, yeah.
that's what is called dependence on Krishna, because we don't get an instantaneous answer. For example, at this point of time you may be thinking this way or that way, but then the principle of dependence on Krishna means Krishna will guide you. You take shelter of him, you depend upon him, and then see. Prabhu, go ahead. You were saying something more.
Yeah, Prabhuji. Like we say, I mean, we just discussed that we need to depend on Krishna, but at the same time, we also hear that it's not wise to ask material related things from Krishna. I mean, it's not exactly gross material things, but other than going back to Godhead, anything other than that, if we ask that, that feels like it's a material related thing only, right? Whether it's a
Yeah,
job or any other thing.
yeah, I understand. Prabhuji, when we face problems, actually we should depend on Krishna. Uh,
Mhm.
um, Asking like, my Lord, make me, give me more wealth. Um, Not very much recommended, because we know well this is purely for my, um, it may be distractive to me. You can still ask that, but you can say, my Lord, if you so desire. There is a verse in Bhagavatam which says, Akama sarvo kamo va moksha kama udadadi. Whether you have desire, you have no desire, you have desire for liberation, in all situation take shelter of Krishna. But if we are intelligent and mature Vaishnavas, then Krishna's recommendation is we should depend upon him for every situation. The situation can be as simple as, my lord, my kids are not showing any interest in going to school and it's causing me a lot of anxiety. I mean, hypothetical, I just cooked it up. um,
Yeah.
they are not showing any interest in going to school and it is a great cause of my anxiety. Please help me. And this is also dependence on Krishna. Instead of depending on my own intelligence how I can resolve it, I depend upon Krishna. Ultimately, the inspiration Krishna will give and I will act through my intelligence only. Intelligence will be an interfere, but I'm conscious of Krishna and bringing to Krishna and depending on Krishna in all situation. What Krishna can do in that situation is something that we cannot do. Krishna sitting in the heart of the children can inspire them. Actually, there is a lot of fun in going to school. Or Krishna knows the children very well, their own desire, and Krishna will inspire them. Everybody is following the Lord in their heart. Devotees know that, non-devotees don't know that. Independent of that, everyone is receiving inspiration. They are getting help from the Lord in their heart, but they just don't know whether it is kids. Um, um, so the recommendation is that we depend on Krishna in all circumstances, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Is that
Thank
all
you,
right?
Prabhuji. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Like one simple example is we got coronavirus, like all the temple residents. So one senior devotee here, his name is Yugal Kishore Prabhu. I think you know him. You saw him. Um,
Yes.
he texted spiritual master Radhanath Maharaj, mentioning that Maharaj, we are all corona positive and our health is not good. And Maharaj replied back and he said, do the needful, whatever is required, at the same time depend upon Krishna. So he did not say that don't ask Krishna for all these things, but he said do the needful, whatever is required, um, but don't depend upon the needful things we are doing, but you depend upon Krishna. In all situations, depend on Krishna. Prabhu. Is it all right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Srinivas
Thank you.
Prabhu. Okay. Yatha Chishi Tatha Guru. Now I have told you what is right to do, what is the right thing, what is not the right thing, and I'm inspiring you from within your heart. I have told you externally as your spiritual master, and I'm also telling you from within your heart. You do what you like to do. And I have told you, if you follow me, you will attain eternal transcendental peace and attain the supreme abode, the spiritual planets. And if you don't, you'll be lost. I have given you all the knowledge. You know everything now. Um, Yet you have your own independence. You have your own little free will. So yatha cheshi tatha kuru. Whether you reject it or you follow it, that's your choice. Okay. Um. uh, okay. Um. Glancing at his dear friend, Krishna's merciful heart melted like butter, and he spoke. O my dear friend Arjuna, I will now speak the essence of the whole scriptures in few verses. So, after saying, um, this is the last two, three verses, important verses in this section. After saying um, to Arjuna, do what you like to do. I have told you the right and wrong. You have a choice. Um, Now Krishna is going to give his supreme instruction. Now at this point of time, um, um, Arjuna, um, Krishna told Arjuna Now I will speak to you the essence, or this, in this verse Krishna says this is still more confidential knowledge, and in essence Krishna is going to speak now the most confidential knowledge. Because you are my very dear friend, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction. If you understand the next two verses, which is a supreme instruction of Krishna, then you are supposed to understood the entire Bhagavad Gita. Because you are very dear friend, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hearing this from me, for it is for your benefit. Okay, okay. Um, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. Now, Arjuna, for your benefit, um, listen this supreme most instruction. Um, 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 Krishna has given the knowledge, confidential knowledge about Brahman. Krishna has given the more confidential knowledge about listen to Super Soul and surrender unto him. And now he will give the most confidential knowledge. And we will see that. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. There is no instruction more confidential than this. Please listen very carefully. Um, you fight, you perform your karma. This is three modes. Um, Krishna has given Arjuna many instructions, many good instructions. But the ultimate instruction he has given, confidential knowledge, no lamentation, no this, hankering, more confidential, no, listen to Paramatma. And while you are dealing in your life, you take instruction from Paramatma, you depend upon him, and by depending upon him, you will be able to cross over all the problems. That's very good. Do all these things anyhow. As a devotee, we do all these things anyhow. But this instruction in this verse 18.65, this is the most important instruction which Krishna gives only to selected devotees. And we will see that. Uh, Krishna says, always think of me. Yes, you do your job, you you do whatever supposed to do, whatever problems you are facing, you cross over it. But at the same time, you always think of Krishna. Arjuna, you always think of me. Um, you become my devotee. You worship me and you pay your homage unto me. Thus, you will come to me without fail. This is what is Krishna's deepest desire. There is no desire of Krishna more deeper than this. This is what makes this verse the most confidential knowledge. Is Krishna says, "Thus you will come to me without fail." So Krishna is telling Arjuna, Arjuna, come to me, come back, come back. As a duty, you have to fight. You do whatever problems you face. You surrender to the Lord in your heart. You overcome those problems. But my ultimate instruction to you, Arjuna, because you are my very dear friend, because I love you, because you're not envious of me, my supreme most instruction to you, Arjuna, come back. Come back to my abode. Come back to spiritual world. Come back. Don't just keep struggling in this material world, trying to solve the problems only and trying to find a happy life, a Krishna conscious life within this world. But my supreme instruction is come back, go back to God, come back. Um, and then Krishna says, well, Arjuna, I am telling this only to you. A common man cannot understand that. How can you come back to me? What do you need to do if you want to come back to me? And Krishna says, always think of me, become my devotee. Always think of me, but my Lord, how do I always think of you? Always think of me. Krishna is absolute. Always think of Krishna does not necessarily mean that the form of Krishna is within our vision. All the time we are seeing Krishna playing flute in Vrindavan. That does not mean always think of me. Krishna is absolute. Um, you are in Krishna Katha, the names of Krishna are in your mind. Um, Anything connected to Krishna you are doing, you are thinking of Krishna. Prabhupada says the easiest way is Nam Smaran. You are meditating, Nam Kirtan, Japa. You are meditating on the Lord through His names. If you say Krishna, because Krishna is absolute, there is no difference between the word Krishna and the personality Krishna. When you say Krishna, even though no form comes in your mind, even though your mind is blank, you just say Krishna, um, you are thinking of Krishna. You are thinking of Krishna. We are discussing Bhagavad Gita. We may be discussing an instruction of Krishna, say, Na sochati na kangshati. Don't lament over the past, don't hanker for the future. You are thinking of Krishna because these are Krishna's words. There is no difference between Krishna's personality, Krishna's names, Krishna's words, Krishna's devotees. They're all called Tadiya, paraphernalia of Krishna. Somehow or other, Arjuna, you always always think of me, and you become my devotee. Become my devotee. What does it mean, Krishna, to become my devotee? Krishna says, now this is the most confidential. Krishna says in Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, what do devotees do? What does it mean to become my devotee? Krishna says, Bodhayanti Parasparam, Kathayantascha Mam Nityam. They do Krishna Katha. Kathayantascha Mam Nityam. They come together and they discuss about me. All the residents in Vrindavan, they come together. Today Krishna killed these demons. Today Krishna played his flute. It was so sweet. Today Krishna did this. Today Krishna did that. Krishna Katha. Um, Kathyantascha mam nityam bodhayanta parasparam kathyantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. They just discuss about me. They come together. My devotees come together. They discuss about me, Krishna Katha, Hari Katha, and they derive great bliss and satisfaction just by discussing Krishna Katha. That's all. So Prabhupada says becoming Krishna's devotee means hearing about Krishna, chanting Krishna's name, serving Krishna. These are the primary activities of, of a devotee of Krishna. Then worship me. You worship Krishna. How do I worship you? Well, you can do a small arati to my picture. You can offer me food. Uh, um, and in all these ways, you can dress me. You can ornament me. You can, in this way, you can worship me. You can bathe me. You can worship me. You worship me. Now, if you see from where Bhagavad Gita began, um, should I fight, karma, compassion, sinful reaction? This verse, to one extent, has absolutely no connection with that. Krishna said, well, I have already addressed. The Lord is sitting in your heart. He is guiding you what to do, what not to do. Externally, Guru is guiding you what to do, what not to do. And if you depend upon me, you'll be able to cross over all those difficulties. Just be conscious of me. But my supreme desire, Arjuna, for you is that you come back to me. You come back to me. Prabhupada said, finish your business in this life and go back to Godhead. Don't prolong your stay because nature of this material world is dukhalyam ashashvatam. Nature of this material world is you solve one problem today, you will get another problem tomorrow. You depend on Krishna, you solve that problem tomorrow, You will get the third problem day after tomorrow. Nature of this material world. How long do you want to struggle? How long do you want to? Okay, suppose you solve all the problem in this life. If you come back to in this material world in next life, you get more problems. How long do you want to struggle in this material world? So that's why Krishna says, because you're not envious of me. Envious person, if you tell him the instruction, come to me, they will like, what will I do going there? What is there? People don't know. Naturally, some of you may not know also. As we discuss more Krishna Katha, things will become more clear in over a period of time. But the supreme most instruction, the supreme most desire that Krishna has for Arjuna, Arjuna, come to me. You think of me, you become my devotee, you offer your obeisances unto me. You see my picture, you bow down to me, touch your head to the ground. Shashtang, all the eight limbs touch the ground, and you bow down to me. Now, this is the supreme most instruction. Just before this, which was, he said, now I have told you even more confidential. And there he says, you surrender unto him, the Lord, in your heart. And Krishna says, I am sitting in the heart of every living entity. And as in my Paramatma feature, I am giving guidance. You surrender to that Paramatma feature. With that, you will be able to cross over all the obstacles. Um, but you become directly my devotee. Directly you become my devotee. um, of course, as you become my devotee, you still listen to the Lord in your heart, who will help you to come to me. But your goal is you directly become my devotee. You think of me, you worship me, you bow down to me. Thus, if you do these things, you will come to me without fail. Other things will go on, Arjuna. I have already, regarding killing of Dronacharya, Bhishma Dev, Duryodhan. Don't you remember, in the universal form, I have already showed you they're all crushed within my mouth. They are all already dead, Arjuna. This war, I have already decided the future of this war. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about anything external, Arjuna. Now you think of me, you become my devotee. You offer your homage unto me, you worship me, you come to me. Very shortly, I'm going to leave this material world. I'm going to go back to my abode. Follow me. Come to me. I promised you this because you are my very dear friend. I'm promising you. If you do these things, become my devotee, always remember me, you will come to me. There is no instruction of this is the sum and substance. Krishna said in the previous verse, because you are my very dear friend, I am speaking to my supreme instruction. But just before that, Krishna says, thus I have explained to you knowledge still more confidential. That was just more confidential. And here Krishna is saying, this is my supreme instruction. The most confidential. He has explained confidential, more confidential, most confidential. There is no instruction beyond this. Arjuna, come to me. Prabhupada said, the goal of Bhagavad Gita is to understood that I want to go back to Krishna, I want to go back to Godhead, and Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I should surrender to Krishna. If we have not come to this conclusion, go back to first chapter, read Gita again. Read again, try to understand everything. Come to the end of the 18th chapter and see what's your conclusion, what's the essence of Gita. If somebody asks you, Prabhuji, have you read Bhagavad Gita? Yes. Okay, tell me something that is most important. Go back to Krishna. Go back to Krishna. But it's Mahabharat, Yudh. Yes. The most important instruction is Arjuna, come to me. Come to me. And then um, um, mm, but Krishna says, uh, how is it possible for men whose hearts are contaminated with unlimited sins to perform pure bhakti to Krishna like this? Krishna will now answer that. So we will discuss just one more verse for today, and then few last remaining verses we can cover next week, because it's already 6 minutes remaining. Um, how is it possible for a man to think of Krishna when we have committed so many sinful activities in our life? we cannot think of Krishna. If we have lot of sinful activities, the moment you think of Krishna, your mind will go away. Your mind will be distracted. So what do I do? Krishna himself says in 7th chapter 28th verse, Yesham to antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvanda moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavrata. That you are in moha, you are in dvandva, duality, because of papa. Papa. Once you become free from, once you perform pious activities, birth after birth, um, the antagatam papam, anta, and you have come to the end of all your pap, all your sinful activities, and you have become free from dvanda moha. Te dvanda moha nirmukta. Mukta means liberated. Nirmukta means now you have become free from dvandva and moha, duality and illusion. Bhajante mam dridhavrata. That bhajante mam dridhavrata is always think of Krishna. Dridhavrata, only those person, that is called worship with great determination. When one come to this stage of always think of Krishna, a staunch devotee of Krishna, worshipping Krishna, offering obeisances to Krishna, that is the way we have to become completely free from sinful life. What to speak about previous life? Our this life may be so sinful in the past. What to speak about in the past? We may be committing sinful activities today. We may be committing sinful activities today. Um, um, uh, there is one devotee called Sutapa Prabhu from London, and he says, if you want, the name of the lecture is getting serious about your spiritual life. And one of the point he says, having no secret habits. Secretive habits are those which are not conducive for Krishna consciousness. Secretive habits, having none of them, living a very simple, plain, pure life. So, what to speak about now? Those who are committing sinful activities, it's not possible to think of Krishna. Always think of him. Manmana, Bhavat Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru. Always think of me. The moment we consciously think of Krishna, mind goes away. Always thinking of Krishna is out of question for them. Out of question. Always think of Krishna. 10 minutes we cannot chant a holy name, the mind will go away. No question of always think of Krishna. Till we come to this stage of always think of Krishna, Krishna says, you will not come to me. Because here he says, if you always think of me, thus you will come to me. Then you will come to me. And this is what I want from you, Arjun. You come to me. What do I do? I mean, जन्म जन्म pious activity तो किया नहीं है. So now I have not become completely free from Dvandva. I am completely in Dvandva. Dvandva means I have my attractions, I have my aversions, repulsions. I have my conception of life. I want to do something, I don't want to do something. I like something, I hate something. I discriminate. Where is the question of becoming free from Dvandva? And so the solution lies in becoming free from sins. What do I do? So last verse for today. सर्वधर्म परित्याज्य माम एकम शरणम व्रज अहम त्वं सर्व पापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचा. सर्वधर्म परित्याज्य. Sarvadharma. Take all the dharma, parityaja. Abandon it. We all have our own understanding of religion. This is my religion, this is his religion, that is her religion. And Krishna himself has given many conception of karma, jnana, ashtanga, and he has given so many other dharmas. And Krishna says, whatever I have said or whatever your conception is, sarva dharma parityaja. You abandon that. Give up all varieties of religion. Mam ekam shranam raja. Just surrender unto me. Not to demigods, not to others. Just surrender unto me. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo. Now the idea is, the understanding is, um, we cannot always think of Krishna. Goal is, ultimate goal is always think of Krishna. That's the final goal. Same thing Krishna says at the end of 9th chapter. Same thing Krishna repeats at the end of 18th chapter. And Krishna says, you do this, and once you are fully conscious of me, you come to me. Pure devotional service. You do that. But our own lifestyle, our own sinful activities, reactions, they cannot make us think of Krishna because we are not pure. So we are not qualified to do that. So Krishna says, well, you surrender unto me. Surrender unto me. What does it mean to surrender unto me? That we will discuss next week, because I thought I can finish today, but I cannot. It's 11:30 already. What it means to surrender unto Krishna next week. It just takes 10 minutes. So we will finish 15-20 minutes. We will finish this discussion next week, and then start with something else. What we will start with, I'm not quite sure yet. There are many options, and probably we will discuss and decide. Okay, we begin from this verse next week because I don't want to just rush through it. So I want to end here. Anybody would like to ask anything? Okay, all right. Thank you very much. My obeisances to all of you. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhe evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnavendra ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.